Let me tell you, Cheyenne. I'm exhausted, Cheyenne. I'm exhausted. Let me eat some of this. Strawberry. Tastes pretty good. Reminds me of South Carolina in the summertime. The woods and the beautiful meadows we lived in the countryside of South Carolina. Cheyenne will tell you. She remembers. We all had a good time back then. Here's the countryside. We sat in a cold, dark room in the summer, so it wasn't really cold. But to us, it felt good cold. And we had frankfurters, and I wouldn't eat them, one of them. They had them there, and I could smell them, and it made me sick to smell the frankfurters. Right? And then it smelled good. But I didn't want to eat any. I still didn't want to eat any. And we sat in that cold, dark theater. It felt good in there when it was sunny outside in the summertime. It was warm and sunny on the country fields of grass, of wild grass that you could run through and walk through. And there were never any bugs to get on you. And it was beautiful, like the sound of music, and we walked out with open arms through the fields like Julie Andrews and the sound of music. Cheyenne will tell you, Cheyenne did too. And Cheyenne, if you can hear this, I'd like to let you know that when we all went in to watch that movie theater screening of Gone with the Wind, that was a long movie. That was a long movie for a movie. Cheyenne was 16. I sat in the movie theater. I was 14. A little girl. And Cheyenne was there in the back of the movie theater with a boy. She didn't want none of those boys. She didn't want one of those boys. I wasn't a little girl. I was just kidding you. I was. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say if I was. But I do know there was a pretty girl in there, a young girl. A young girl who's pretty. Miss Danica, who's a woman actually, but she looked like a girl. She was 47. She was 47 and looked like a girl like us. I was 14, Cheyenne was 16, she was 47, looked like a young girl. Her bright face, like a young child. Soft skin. Pretty. Really pretty. Not as womanly, more like a child. Kind, nice. Everything was good back then. That was when everything was okay. And we started to watch Gone with the Wind, and then some of the little kids, like Matthew, was running around at 4 years old. He never ran around with anyone, but he was just running. He was just running around the movie theater when we were sitting in the movie theater. He was 4. He didn't do anything funny like that. No, none of them ran around with boys. We were all really good. Those words didn't mean anything bad back then. Remember? None of us did anything wrong. And Matthew was 4, and he kept running around the movie theater with his friends. There were a few other kids there. One was 7, I think, or 8. Little kids running around and making noise, and it was a small movie theater, about 20 seats. In the Matthews home. Matthew's father owned it, Matthew Matthews. My name's Kimberly. And Cheyenne was there. She was my friend, my best friend. Well, she was my best friend. Cheyenne, yeah, she was always my best friend, but not like my mama and daddy. And Miss Danica. Miss Danica was really pretty. She was 47. She was 47, looked like a girl, and she was really pretty back then. And the boys liked her. And she didn't like any of them. She was sad and missed her husband. Her husband was far away. This is good strawberry ice cream. I should put a cherry on top of it. Let me get a cherry. Cheyenne always like Sunday with a cherry on top. That's why Danica's husband, he played Ronald McDonald. Danica's husband played Ronald McDonald. Boy, did she miss him. She was alone. And he was overseas, doing business overseas. He took a big train ride to Newport News, Virginia, and got on a huge ship to the Middle East and Africa. He was a scientist and an archaeologist, and they said he was like Indiana Jones, and he went on adventures there, and they had sheiks and people who ate huge bugs and scary things, and they would reach into someone's heart and rip it out just like Indiana Jones. And he went on those kinds of adventures. And she missed her husband. And he was on his way home. And he came in the door. And we hadn't seen him, and we hadn't seen Mr. Birmingham, and we'd heard about him. And he looked kind of like Ronald McDonald, but he had darker hair. And he said, "Hi, everyone." And we all said, hi. And Miss Danica broke down into tears. And they held hands. And Mr. Birmingham said, "We're going to go for a walk. Tell Mr. Matthews I said hi." And they walked out the door. And the little kids kept running around in the movie theater, and Gone with the Wind was playing. It wasn't very loud. It was on a little projector in the back of the room. And me and Cheyenne, I whispered to Cheyenne, "Let's go see what they're doing. See if they kiss or something like that." No, they're not going to. Let's just see what they do. And we looked outside, and they were walking holding hands. And they were walking holding hands. They were swinging their hands. And they walked away. And that was it. And I still remember Cheyenne to this day, and now I'm all alone. And I'm wondering where she is, because she hadn't talked to me in a while. She must be playing hard to get. But I'm going to go. Okay. Bye, y'all.